Why do straight to business?
All right, let's do it.
Why do ducks have tail feathers?
I think I've heard this one before.
To cover their butt quacks. Hey, did you know there's a guy on staff who said you sounded like an owl.
I sound like an owl?
Yeah.
Really? Do you know, I just on my profile on my computer, I just changed it from, it was like a coin for some reason. I just changed it to an owl yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sound like an owl.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I guess they're wise.
I was trying to get you to say who, but
who?
you almost said it. You were on the verge.
I figured you probably wouldn't say their name with it being on the podcast.
No, I'll totally say their name. No,
who?
It was me. Speaking of team, actually, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Who's on your team, and how did you build such a rock solid team? Check that out.
Nice catch, dude. That's part of being a team.
Part of being on the team.
We're gonna be doing that a lot this morning, it looks like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who's on your team and how do you build a rock solid team?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. How important is it to have a good team?
Mildly.
You know, like I was just, you're bringing this up because of what we did this last weekend.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah,
maybe dive into that.
Yeah, let's just talk about that for a second. We're getting ready to put on this Rising Sun retreat, right? And we've asked several people, maybe more than we need to be on our staff this year. I think we got like 35 guys coming and 10 staff, or 11 staff, 11 staff.
Including the three of us. So.
Yeah. But the reason, part of the reason why we have such a big staff is because we just want all of those guys to be on staff with us, right?
Right, yeah.
And because we love being around them. So we decided to put together this pre-event where we're going to go through a couple of our pieces of material for the retreat, and we invited all of them to come down to a house and stay at a house with us for the night. We had tacos together. We went on a night hike and did one of our events that we do, and then afterwards we were sitting around just kind of decompressing and talking about what we just experienced, and I was just overwhelmed by gratitude for the caliber of men that we're surrounded by now.
Yeah.
Like their heart.
You got a mosquito directly on your eyebrow. Dude, I almost slapped it. It was like right there.
I'm so glad.
It was
They're literally swarming all over the place.
Yeah,
I think I've got like 7 on me already. So mosquitoes this morning. That's what it's going to be. But it's a beautiful sunrise. So yeah. So you can't even focus. It's like that one hair that grows out of your head. Yeah. So now I'm going to have like a big dot in the middle of my forehead now for the next week. That's going to be great for the retreat.
I got the one on your shirt.
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
thanks, man. They're literally swarming. I can feel them swarming around my head and yours too. So yeah, I hope they like your blood type more.
Yeah, we'll see.
So no, but really, honestly, like we're talking about team, and how grateful I was that we've got those guys they want to be involved in our lives. They want to be involved in the things that we're doing. We want to be involved in theirs, and they were willing to show up. I mean, some of these guys drove for a couple hours away to come take probably a day off of work to come do some thing with us.
Just random.
right. And I mean, you got a guy going with you tomorrow who's taking a whole day off of work to just basically go and set something up in the mountains for a whole day, you know. And it's just awesome to have that kind of like support and help and love and man, the quality that it adds to life, the vibrance that it adds to life, the feeling of support. Like, oh man, as human beings, to have that like safety net that we know is behind us it's really, really valuable.
So true. I mean, to have guys come out and support you in your endeavor, right? It's like this is a random thing to them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're all in.
Yep.
And I think that's maybe a rarity in this world.
Yeah.
And that's something that I guess I wonder, how do you cultivate the type of relationship that would draw that out in people?
Yeah, that's a good question. We talk about this a lot in our treatment, and we call it the relationship funnel, where You know, every single one of us has a wide funnel right now. You got one on your cheek now too, right there.
Did I get it?
No, you got it, but it's like still smashed on your face.
That's
now.
fine, as long as he's dead. Can't do any more of the sucking.
So, yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, good catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about the relationship funnel, and this is not going well today, Chase.
Dude, it is what it is. Well, we can maybe cut out.
It is what it is. So,
by the way, didn't we hear this summer that they're drawn to bad smells like BO?
Yeah, well, we've been hiking for an hour, so I'm sure that's part of the reason why. As soon as we stopped, we just both got swarmed by them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's try one more time. I'm going to talk about the relationship funnel. And it's this idea that we have multiple people in our lives that we could have some type of interaction with. The clerk at Walmart, the gas station person, someone at church, your therapist, you know, whoever. And systematically, we then funnel people closer into our center as we get to know them better, as we align our values with them, and as we start to have certain things happen, shared experiences being one of them, right? And so it takes intention to move people from the wider parts of the funnel to the inner parts of the funnel. And then it takes the building of trust, it takes shared experiences, and sometimes it takes struggle to build that kind of rock solid team. And I think if you look at the team we're talking about that's helping us right now, we've had all of those things. We've had some level of shared experience. Inside of those shared experiences, I think every one of the guys on the team actually came to the retreat at some point or another. And that retreat is a shared experience and it's a struggle.
Yeah.
There's some real challenge, some real press, there's some real vulnerability there, and vulnerability is the key. And when those things were met with trust, it builds intimacy. And we love every single one of those guys. Like, I have a deep sense of love for, you know, as a result of that. And so I think that's maybe one way that we build a team, and it's hard to do that because it takes time and energy and intention. And you know, when you got so many people out there to divvy up your time to, especially if you're a family man and a church man and a work man, and it's hard to even step a little bit further out and still put in the time to build some of those good friendships as well.
That's so true. Just kind of going through each one of them in my head, and how much they've done to kind of help us grow. And I think about the influence that you've had in you specifically, and I have some overlap there, but not nearly as much. A lot of those were cultivated initially on your side, and you had mentioned when vulnerability is met with trust. I think that it's a two-way street, right? It's like if you want to have some good friends, you probably got to be a good friend,
right?
You know, and those qualities and characteristics that you value, you have to embody them in order to what's the phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, right.
So true.
Yeah 100%. You know, it's interesting as you're talking too, thinking about that you're saying, oh well, you met those guys because of me. But what I think is interesting is between the two of us, you do a really great job of investing time and making intention to keeping those relationships going, whereas I don't spend as much time doing those kinds of things.
It's hard if you're at the grindstone all day.
Yeah, it's like that's one place where my workaholism sometimes gets in the way.
Yeah.
And so it's like an interesting thing that a lot of the relationships we have come through that venue of actually my work, but then I haven't taken the time to cultivate those things as far as I'd like to.
Yeah.
Because I'm back at work. And then you're a great example to me of going, yeah, I haven't talked to so-and-so in so long. I'm going to go do a sunrise with this person, or I'm going to go have dinner with that person, or we're going to go to a concert together. And I think, you got that. Like, that's a necessary part of that development of the funnel that's really hard to do because life gets so busy.
Yeah, that's really true. It's also a balance, right? I mean, like with anything, because I think about some of the guys that we've been able to connect to, and just kind of more broadly, like if this is something you're working on in your own life, like you can't hang out with people all the time.
Right. There's just, you can't do it.
Yeah, there's a finite amount of that. And I remember when I was first learning about the goodness of having a team, it almost got abusive. It's like borderline abusive, where guys are like, hey, take it easy.
I get off work at 5. I can't meet you at 5:15 every day.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't hang out every day.
So I do think there's an exhaustion element there that you kind of toy around with and play with, and have to find that balance. Otherwise, you could scare some people off. But but at the same time, like, it's a give and a take process. And one thing I've noticed is there's been times where I've been more sacrificing and willing to contribute and help somebody out, and then times when maybe I'm down and struggling, that the other person,
somebody else reaches out.
And it is really so beautiful and valuable to have in your life, these kind of relationships where you feel supported and you can support too. One of the funny things that we've gotten feedback is that for guys being on staff, for example.
We've asked the staff members, like, hey, what feedback on what's gone on?
Right. And one of the biggest things they say is, you don't let us help you.
You never say, you ask us to be on staff and then you don't let us do anything.
Right. And I, we keep on talking about this retreat, but it's more broad than that. Like, how often do you allow people to help you specifically?
So hard. It's like, it's actually a conscious choice in my head. I heard this thing from Brene Brown one time, and it just hit me in the face like a smack, just like she's like, when you have a relationship with somebody and you never allow them to reciprocate, they will eventually resent you. Because they'll feel in debt to you and they'll never be able to catch up, and then they'll push away from you. And as soon as she said that, I was like, that's me. Like, so I've actually made it a point in the last couple of years to be open to asking for and receiving help when people offer it. Instead of just being like, no. It's like, let me think if there's a way I can say yes to this. Because I feel like I'm taking advantage of people, but in reality, that's part of how you build a good relationship, right?
Well, I recognize that in you too sometimes, and in the past, it'd be like, hey man, do you want help with that thing? And be like, no, I think I can do it. And then nowadays, what it looks like is, hey man, do you want help with that? And you'd be like, and then I'll say, yeah, let me help you.
The pause.
Yeah.
It's like, that's Tyler's way of saying yes. He can't say yes because that will shatter his pride. But he just said yes. Like, no, it's like I've been trying to work on that, and it still catches in my throat sometimes. Like, it's like I'll be carrying like 4 things out to the truck, and you'd be like, hey, you want some help? I got it. You're kicking the door open. It's like all I'd have to do is just hand one thing off to you and be like, and you know what? That would do something for our relationship. It's like these guys here, that's the feedback they did give us, was you never let us help with anything. And so this year we've actually tried to step a little bit further into saying, how can we let them help? Because they want to, because that's how that's going to help build a relationship partially, right?
It has to go both ways. Otherwise it's not really a friendship,
right?
Last year I had one of my neighbors and my good friends tell me during an activity that is all about really exposing the person and letting them see that you can see their weaknesses, even though,
like, I see you, bro.
It's like, like playing hide and seek, and this is what they're doing, and you're like, dude, you're just covering your face with your hands. I can see you, August. But he told me, he was like, you don't ever ask for help, and it's not because you don't need help. I was like,
it's so true.
It hurts. It stings so good, but that's been something I've been working on as well, actively, because I know that it's like you said, it helps to build relationships. It actually
cultivates the relationship as a whole. You don't want to take advantage of people, right? There's a difference, but receiving help, especially when it's freely offered, that's against our nature as human beings, and I think especially as men in this world, and yet that's one of the biggest tools for building that team. And And what do you miss out on? I mean, think about what we would have missed out on this weekend if we weren't willing to be grateful for the help that so many people want to offer.
Yeah, actually.
And how much they would have missed out on too, because I think they all had a great experience as well.
This is an example that is bubbling up right now. Last year, you shot your first elk, and the day that you got it, that morning, I mean, probably moments after.
It was right after I shot it.
You called, and I was sitting in the house with the kids. I was going to be watching them. Chelsea had some stuff she was doing for school, and when you didn't ask, hey, I want some help cleaning this or anything like that. I just kind of said, that'd be sick to come.
I'd love to come actually help you like dress out the elk.
Yeah, because I've never
pack it out because I've never done it.
Yeah,
I hadn't either, by the way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which was obvious. You had to invite like 12 other guys to come clean.
I had to call up like my friend from across town with horses and be like, hey, can you show me how to like dress out an elk? He's like, oh yeah, I'll bring my horses, so we had a whole team show up. My brother came from 2 hours away because he was so excited about it, and all of us, with one guy who actually knew what he was doing, like cleaned out this elk and packed it off the mountainside. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And that wasn't you reaching out for help necessarily, at least not in the relationship with me, but one thing that was kind of cool, that's like a step away from you reaching out to the people in your circle, was I reached out to people in my circle saying, hey, I've got the kids this morning, but I'd really love to go have this experience with Ty that I don't know how often this is going to happen. And I've never had this before. Would you be open to watching the kids for a few hours so I could go do that?
How cool is that?
And,
and then you had people in your peripheral take care of what you needed help with.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's a really cool example.
Yeah. So it's cool how that works out. And then, simultaneously there's things that we've done for them and just the relationships that you can build there. When you're in a pinch, people are there for you. When you're having good times, you can have people there for you. Like it doesn't matter what stage or struggle you're in life. It's like having people on your team makes such a blessed difference.
Oh man, huge quality to life. And it's something that a lot of us are starved of, and we get this like fake sense of it through our social media and other means. But to have the real thing really does make a difference.
So it almost feels like we're talking about unicorns a little bit, like it's not possible. And we've talked about the relationship funnel. How much time does it take to cultivate something like what we're describing? Yeah,
well, I think the statistics for marriage say that you should spend about 14 to 20 hours a week on your marriage. So work 40 hours a week, spend 20 hours on your marriage, plus being a dad or a mom. You don't have a lot of time left, but you know what? Once you get it going, it doesn't take all that much, right? It's like it takes a few of those pivotal experiences. Those are the big bang for your buck kinds of things. Like the guys who came to the retreat in 3 days, they were like best friends.
Yeah, bonded. Yeah.
And now they can spend, a couple of minutes a day on a Marco Polo or a phone call once a week. Or like I have roommates from college that are still some of my best friends that I maybe get a text to them occasionally. I see their text thread a lot, but if I called them and said, hey, I'm coming to Florida, they'd be like, come stay with us. Or, hey, let's get together. I'm coming into town for some business. Like, can we get together for lunch? And instantly we would be back to being straight back to connected again, because there's already been that connection forged. So I would say the upfront cost of some shared experience and maybe some struggle is maybe the biggest investment, but then it's just maintenance of, we just got to make sure once in a while we're still, like I got a best friend he's been calling me for 4 months. Tyler, I just want one day to go on the river with you to go fishing. And it's like, I'll find a day. I haven't found a day. I'm like, I'm being a terrible friend. So I'm going next weekend to hang out for one day with him on the river. I'm so excited about it, even though I'm like dying inside because I just canceled a bunch of appointments. So, but it's worth it. It's something that needs to happen. So,
right. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah. Any other thoughts?
Good topic today.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky if any of us at any given time have 3 or 4 people in the inner circle on our team, but it's worth the effort to cultivate that, because when things go south, having that is a lifesaver, quite literally for some people sometimes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Plus, it's fun to think about a funnel of people just.
Think about the ones you're trying to move out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. It goes both ways.
You got to move some out, and so some can come in. The right ones can come in.